What's up, Barbarians? We are in Season 9 with the Flay barb. We are in Torment 4, we aren't even Paragon level 200, and we don't even have 5 glyphs yet. This build is awesome. I can't do the Torment 4 bosses efficiently just yet, but I can kill them with no problem. Let's show Torment 3 Lord Zir and Belial. So Torment 3 bosses are literally no problem. Just watch the health bar go down. And dead. That fast. Alright, Wrath of the Berserker. And away we go. And as you can see, we are crushing him. Not level 200. Don't even have 5 glyphs. We do have 5 boards, we just don't have 5 glyphs. And dead. That's how good this build is. We are in Torment 4, we have our armor capped, and we almost have everything capped except for lightning. This build is awesome. It takes 0 mythics, and will get you to World Tier 4 no problem. And this is not the final build for Flay, but I want to show off how strong it is considering we don't have all our glyphs, and we don't have all our Paragon points. And we don't even have all our gear. I still want mythic items, and I want items that have a bit better rolls. Like this is not good. There's a couple things that we need. But this build is still very, very strong. We have everything maxed out except for our lightning, and we don't have our critical strike chance maxed out just yet. Overall, this build is a lot of fun. This is the most fun bleed build I have had for a long time. Season 4, when I used Flay, Rupture, and Rend to do Pit 125 back in the day, that was a lot of fun. This is pretty close to that. I absolutely love this build. It's so much fun. And I'm not even done. Like, I'm going to push this as far as I can. We just started pushing the pit, and we are nowhere near close to having our glyphs done, to having anything done. So I'm going to show a quick pit run, and we're going to do pit 65. To start, we do need 1 Soothing Spice. And for the extra XP, I do like to use attack speed and lucky hit chance. It works very well with bleed skills. Okay. Reel him in, hit Wrath of the Berserker, and just use Flay. I am absolutely loving that bleed is doing so well. And we do have on the special power that makes things die, but we still want to use Rupture. Very important to keep Rupture on. It helps set down the cooldowns, and it's a very important part of the build. But now, when we played Flay Rupture in the past, and Rupture did most of our damage during the actual dungeon versus the boss, now pretty much Flay is doing all the damage. Rupture still does some damage, but not as much as it used to. Before, the best way to do is pull everything, hit Rupture, pull everything, hit Rupture. That's still a decent way to play, but Flay is so powerful that we can just stand here and just cut things up like butter. Mind you, once you get all the items. So bleed build, I don't know how far we're going to go with this, but I am going to try to push this to my max. I want to try to min-max this, and I want to see how far I can make this build go. You know, Lunging Strike has already done like 102, I believe. But how far can we push this? Now the main thing I need to do is get better masterworking items. And better masterworking, I really need to min-max it. And my tempers on here are not that good as well. I'm just using generic damage tempers. But I don't know if that's the best hit, because I just put on the Wrath glyph, and I saw quite an interesting damage increase. But we'll talk about all that at the end. So yeah, we're definitely nowhere near finished with this build. And the seasonal powers are pretty decent. I'm actually enjoying this season more than I expected. I found leveling this season was absolutely awful. I found leveling was quite boring, and it didn't really feel like it brought anything new. But then once I got some uniques, and once I got the new boots, that's when I found this season felt more fun for me. Before that, it was kind of a slog, not gonna lie. I found lunging strike without the boots kind of boring. It was very powerful though. Leveling was great. Who is the boss today? Alright. Hit Wrath of the Berserker. Always hit your ground stomp when needed. And sit here and use Flay. Also use Steel Grasp every now and again just to keep up your berserking. But your damage increase is really going to come with Wrath of the Berserker because of the ugly bastard. But this, again, we only have 4 glyphs. Glyphs are a major damage increase. And we have no issues whatsoever here. None whatsoever. Then hit Rupture at the end, right about now. And it's over. Level 65 complete. This is the early endgame build for Flay, which requires no mythic uniques. We are still going to attempt to get the Air of Perdition and the Ring of Starless Skies to try those out to see if it can fit with this build. But right now, this build is awesome. Our gear is not final, our tempers aren't final. We use the Ugly Bastard Helm, and we use that for the 56% increased damage. And because we use Flay and Rupture, we have Wrath of the Berserker up almost 100% of the time. The only part where it's down is bossing a little bit. Other than that, it's awesome. Next is Rage of Hairgath, a staple in any bleed build. The most important thing is your lucky hit chance has to be close to 60. I won't even look at one if it's below 50. Then we have the Conceited Gauntlets. I did try this with Pain Gorgers. If you go to the training room and you test Flay with Pain Gorgers only does the flat damage of 9,000 there. That's the only thing that it echoes. Because of that, I decided to go with something else, which is the Conceited aspect. And the two things you want here for all your pieces are Strength and Critical Strike Chance. And then you're gonna have to use some Resistance Tempers, as Resistances are harder to cap out now. Of course, with our 1 incense, we are pretty much capped out. Then we use the aspect of Might. You could use the aspect of Might or the aspect of Bokathos. I prefer the aspect of Might, even though it's less damage reduction, because we use Flay all the time. And on my pants, you want as many GAs as possible on Life. The Hooves of the Mountain God. These are awesome. I have a great roll on these. These boots make Flay feel like Rend. This is probably going to be the first season that I might not make a Rend build. Flay is so much fun this season. I absolutely love it. This is what Rend should be. In order to get past Torment 2 with any basic skill build, I would recommend having these boots. Then for the mace, we have the aspect of Earthquakes with Lith Tech. If you don't have the Lith rune, you could use Yule, because we have Ground Stomp, we have Wrath of the Berserker. Every other skill but Flay has a cooldown, which means you would cast Earthquakes quite often. Except for bossing, you have to make sure you use your skills. But to proc Earthquakes consistently, Lith or Yule are the only ones that I've found. And you want to make sure you have a Flay Duration Temper. I'm still working with Damage Tempers or Critical Strike Tempers or Basic Damage Tempers. I'm not sure which one is best, and I use the Damage Temper right now for our Tyrant's Bane gem. If you remember from the PTR, Tyrant Bane works a lot better with the straight damage temper versus damage over time, but I didn't have a chance to use the critical strike temper or the basic damage temper. The damage temper is yet to be determined. Then we have the Magnum Opus. You want to make sure you get one to close to 50 as possible. Then we have the Shard of Rathiel, and you want to get the aspect closest to 150 as possible. Then we have the aspect of Moon Rising, and I'm using Pak Lum. And this is to make sure that I have as much resource as possible so I can keep spamming Flay and making it cleave like Rend. On a ring, we have the Vehement Brawler. We have Wrath of the Berserker up all the time. This is always active. And for the gem, we are using Idol from Below. Next, we have the Ring of Adaptability with the Tyrant Bane gem. And the aspect of the Iron Warrior on the amulet for barrier and for damage reduction and for unstoppable. And instead of ranks to pit fighter, I was trying to get ranks to cut to the bone. For our Heraldric spell, we use Disintegrate, Bottled Wind for more barrier, Fractured Core to get rid of the damage resistant auras, and Bloody Charm, as it really helps when we are pit pushing, when we're doing anything to just kill enemies right away. Right now I am using Glacier Nimbus, but I'm just using this for the seasonal quest line at the moment. I am using either Smoldering Ember or Nebulous Extract for pit pushing, and if you need more damage reduction, I would use this one. If you find you're not dying that much, I would use the Smoldering Ember. But this is the one I use the most. And if your Fury is not up to par, use Reactive Ooze instead of Fractured Core. For weapon expertise, we use Two-Handed Axe. For our skills, we have 7 points into Flay for Battle Flay, 1 point to Pressure Point to get 3 points into Warpath, 3 points into Tempered Fury, 3 points into Endless Fury, 3 points to Ground Stomp for Strategic Ground Stomp, 3 points in Imposing Presence, 3 points to Martial Vigor, 3 points into Belligerence, 3 points to Iron Skin for Tactical Iron Skin, 3 points into Swiftness, 2 points into Aggressive Resistance, 3 points to Pit Fighter, 3 points to Slaying Strike, and if your critical strike chance isn't close to 100%, put as many points as you need into No Mercy, 5 points into Rupture for Warrior's Rupture, 3 points into Cut to the Bone, 3 points to Steel Grasp for Fighter Steel Grasp, 1 point into Thick Skin for 3 points into Counteroffensive, 7 points into Wrath of the Berserker for Supreme Wrath of the Berserker, and our key passive is Gushing Wounds. And for your arsenal selection system, make sure both Rupture and Flay are on dual wield. For your Paragon board, your first board, you are going to put Ambidextrous. And we put this one here because we want the bonus damage to elites. Second board is the Warbringer board, where you're going to put Wrath. And we want as many Fury nodes as possible, but because I don't have my 5th glyph yet, I'm not getting these nodes just yet, but we will get these soon. Our third board is Hemorrhage, where I take Disembowel. I was using this glyph while leveling, and I'm not entirely sure that I'm going to keep it for the actual endgame build. But even though I use this while leveling, I still upgraded it to level 46 to give us a better damage increase. Our fourth board is Blood Rage, and this is where I took Challenger. I didn't take Challenger right away. I was using Blood Feeder, and I was using Blood Feeder specifically for the 10% increase in critical strike chance to bleeding enemies. And if your critical strike chance is below 60%, I would advise you to use Blood Feeder first until you have your critical strike chance above 70%. Once you have a critical strike chance of above 70%, you can drop Blood Feeder and then input Challenger. And our fifth and final board is Weapon Master with no glyph yet. At the moment, I am thinking about using Rumble for the 15% damage increase to crowd-controlled enemies and to bosses, where our Steel Grasp stuns enemies all the time, which would give us this 15% damage increase. That is Flay so far. I am very happy with this build, and I'm excited to see how far we can push it. I want to try to get my glyphs as close to 100 as possible to see how far this build can go. This is just the beginning for Flay. I will be doing another update on Flay once I can push even further and once I get some mythic uniques. But if you want to play Flay, you don't need any mythics, just a couple uniques. Ugly Bastard is great, Rage of Harrogath is a must, and then Magnum Opus, Shard of Rathiel, and Hooves of the Mountain God. These are all pretty easy to get, and this build should be quite easy to get online. I am excited to keep trying this build and keep pushing it, and next time I have an update to this build, it should be the final version. So if you haven't reached Torment 4 yet, and you really like the bleed skills, you have to try Flay. Flay is awesome, it cuts everything like butter, I love it. The only place I don't like using Flay is the Heraldric Strong Room because there is a timer and you have to make sure that every enemy dies on time. Other than that, this build can do everything in the game. And I have killed tormented bosses on Torment 4. I've done the Infernal Hordes on Torment 4. It can do it no problem, just the boss fights are a little bit longer. What are you playing this season? Are you playing Bleed? If so, let me know down in the comments. How high of a pit tier can you go? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.